greatness of your holy name. You're worthy of glory, worthy of honor, and worthy of praise. You are holy.
Come on.
You are holy. The whole earth sings your praise. The whole earth sings your praise. You are mighty. You are mighty. The whole earth sings your praise. The whole earth sings your praise.
Come on, church, put your hands together.
Of your goodness we will sing hallelujah to the King. You're worthy of glory, worthy of honor, and worthy of praise. Now I'm redeemed from my past. Your people dance to realize you're worthy of glory, worthy of honor, and worthy of praise. You are holy. You are holy. The whole earth sings your praise. The whole earth sings your praise. You are mighty. You are mighty. The whole earth sings your praise. The whole earth sings your praise.
Come on, put your hands together. Somebody shout, he's holy.
We pour out our best for you. 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 Yeah. We pour out our best for you. 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 You are holy. You are holy. The whole earth sings your praise. The whole earth sings your praise. You are mighty. You are mighty. The whole earth sings your praise. The whole earth sings your praise.
Sing it holy. You are
Holy. You are holy. The whole earth is your praise. The whole earth is your praise. You are mighty. You are mighty. The whole earth is your praise. The whole earth is your
Somebody shout, he's holy. Somebody shout, breakthrough.
You are the undefeated one, my light and my salvation. When the wicked, my enemies and my foes came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Omnipotent, almighty defender, my victory, my refuge, the one I run to. You are the God, you are the God of the breakthrough.
Come on, sing it.
Breakthrough, you are the God of the breakthrough. When I can't see my way through and I really don't know what to do, I look to you. Breakthrough, walls fall down when I shout through, strongholds break when I pray through. So I'm gonna praise you. You are the God, you are the God of the breakthrough. You are the undefeated one, my light and my salvation. When the wicked, my enemies and my foes came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Omnipotent, almighty defender, my victory, my refuge, the one I run to. You are the God, you are the God of the breakthrough. Breakthrough, you are the God of the breakthrough. When I can't see my way through, and I really don't know what to do, I look to you. Breakthrough, walls fall down when I shout through, strongholds break when I pray through. So I'm gonna praise you. You are the God, you are the God of the breakthrough.
Does anybody need a breakthrough this morning?
Breakthrough in my heart, breakthrough in my mind, breakthrough in my spirit, breakthrough in my soul, breakthrough in my weakness, breakthrough in my struggle. You are the God, you are the God of the breakthrough in my worship, breakthrough in my praise, breakthrough when I lift and glorify your name, breakthrough when I dance, breakthrough when I shout. You are the God, yes, you are the God of the breakthrough in my heart, breakthrough in my mind, breakthrough in my spirit, breakthrough in my soul, breakthrough in my weakness, breakthrough in my struggle. You are the God, yes, you are the God of the breakthrough in my worship, breakthrough in my praise, breakthrough when I live and glorify your name, breakthrough when I dance, breakthrough when I shout. You are the God, you are the God of the breakthrough. Breakthrough, you are the God of the breakthrough. When I can't see my way through, and I really don't know what to do, I look to you. Breakthrough, walls fall down when I shout through, strongholds break when I pray through. So I'm gonna praise you. You are the God, you are the God of the breakthrough in my heart, breakthrough in my mind, breakthrough in my spirit, breakthrough in my soul, breakthrough in my weakness, breakthrough in my struggle. You are the God, yes, you are the God of the breakthrough in my worship, breakthrough in my praise, breakthrough when I live and glorify your name, breakthrough when I dance, breakthrough when I shout. You are the God, you are the God of the breakthrough in my worship, breakthrough in my spirit, breakthrough in my soul, breakthrough in my weakness, breakthrough in my struggle. You are the God, yes, you are the God of the breakthrough in my worship, breakthrough in my praise, breakthrough when I live and glorify your name, breakthrough when I dance, breakthrough when I shout. You are the God, you are the God of the breakthrough.
Somebody shout breakthrough. Wash away my sins. What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood, nothing but the blood of Jesus. Pure as snow, welcomed as the friends of God. Nothing but the blood, nothing but the blood of Jesus. Come on, sing that again. What can wash away my sins? What can make me whole again? It's nothing, Nothing, nothing but the blood of Jesus. What can wash us pure as snow? Welcomed as the friends of God. Nothing but the blood, nothing but the blood, Jesus.
He is my faithful Father, calling me out of the dark. Night cannot whisper away what he said in the light. He is my firm foundation, my anchor won't be moved. Storms may collide, but my soul is on fire with his word. When listen to the sound of power on my lips, Jesus has broken the curse. He has never lost a battle. Who are you, great mountain, that you should not bow low? Jesus defeated the darkness. He has never lost a battle. He is the only healer. His love will never fail. All my belief dares to defeat every lie. And he is my strong high tower. Fear will not find me there. And I come alive with his promise inside of my heart. When listen to the sound of power on my lips, Jesus has broken the curse. He has never lost a battle. Who are you, great mountain, that you should not bow low? Jesus defeated the darkness. He has never lost a battle. Christ redeemer, we sound of power on my lips. Jesus has broken the curse. He has never lost a battle. Who are you, great mountain, that you should not bow low? Jesus defeated the darkness. He has never lost a battle.
And who are you, great mountain? You should not bow low. Jesus defeated the darkness. He has never lost a battle. Hallelujah, Jesus. Come on, if you can, throw your hands in there. Come on, put your hands in there. Just say, come, Lord Jesus. In power and authority and glory. Let your presence be made known here in the name of Jesus.
Pastor Travis said, we're going to the Delta. We're going to Helena-West Helena, and I don't know if I've even told you guys, most of you guys, the name of our church. But the name of our church is called Hope Church, and I love that name. It gets me excited. It gets me excited because it causes me to think about bringing hope to the hopeless. It causes me to think about just helping people find their unique design and their gift in their walk with Christ, and helping them to make a difference in Christ. And today is what I want to give you guys what I would call a hope message. What I would call a hope message. And so this is what I want you to do. I want you to look at somebody that you believe in. I want you to look at somebody you believe in. Just put your hand on their shoulder. And I want you to say this too. I want you to tell them my title today. I want you to say, you were, come on, say it like you mean it. You were made for more. Made for more. You were made for more. If we could, I guess we can get that fixed. You were made for more. You were made for more. So I want to ask you guys a question, and you can raise your hand to answer it or whatever. How many of you believe that you have a purpose for your life? How many of you guys? Hope every hand goes up. How many of you? Okay, and then equally with that, how many of you guys think it's hard to explain your purpose, like what you're supposed to do in your life? How many of you guys think that you might not have even found your purpose yet? You know, it's one of those things. I think it feels frustrating and you feel discontent when you're in your lives whenever you haven't found that specific, unique purpose that God has for you. We all know that there's something out there, that there's more life for us to experience, but we don't know how to access it. And so this reminds me of a story about a Greyhound racetrack that I heard about in Florida. Now, I've never been to a Greyhound race. I have been to the racetrack before because my dad used to race horses and he owned horses and stuff, but I've never been to a Greyhound race. But I don't know if you've ever been to it or seen it on TV, but basically you got these big old Greyhound dogs that line up to get ready to race, right? And then they have this rabbit, this electric rabbit that gets shot out of the whatever, I don't even know what it gets shot out of, but it gets shot out. And now these Greyhounds, I don't know the technical terms, but these Greyhounds just take off after this rabbit. And whoever is the fastest Greyhounds finishes the race, they win the race. And this particular story about Florida, there's this rabbit that just shoots out, and the little bunny explodes in the middle of the race. And it explodes in the middle of the race, and so these dogs just do all kinds of crazy stuff. They're you got some of them that they just sit down, lay down, and take a nap right there in the middle of the race, right? And then you got some that were so confused by the explosion that they like ran into the railing and broke some ribs and hurt themselves. And then you had some dogs that just stopped and just started barking at everybody in the stands. But here's the interesting thing: none of them finished the race. None of them finished the race. And I think that this is a good picture of what it looks like when you don't have something to chase in your life. When you don't have a purpose to chase in your life, you end up just staying still where you are, or you end up using something to hurt yourself, chasing something that you don't even know will help you, but it ends up hurting you, or you just end up barking and complaining about everybody else in the stands. I think that we have this in our lives if we have nothing to chase, if there's nothing to chase. But here's the thing. You can't just have a rabbit to chase. You can't just have something in your life to chase. A key to a significant life is making sure that you're chasing something that's much bigger than what's right in front of you. So many people work to achieve career goals, and they work to achieve, get promotions and raises and different things like that, and then realize that they're disappointed and disillusioned by their success. Tom Brady, who's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the world. In my opinion, the GOAT of quarterbacks. You can fight me on that if you want to. That's whatever. But I think he is. I remember he was in an interview and they talked about all his accolades and they talked about, man, you've done all these things, you've won all these titles, you've won all these MVPs, and you have all this money, you have a beautiful wife. What are you gonna? Have you been fulfilled in your life? And he was quoted saying, man, there's just got to be something more. There's just got to be something more out there. And so that's a good picture to me of how we think that these earthly things can satisfy us, but really there's still a sense of searching, a sense of fulfillment that needs to be filled. And other people think that finding the right spouse, having a family, those things will fulfill you. They'll be significant enough to be called your purpose. But I know of a family recently I went to church with. They got 6 kids. You think Pastor got a lot of kids? They got 6 kids, and the husband just recently, I think he said tapped out and said he was done. So he went and got a surgical procedure done, and when they stopped having kids, they got a divorce because I guess the purpose of having babies, the significance of that was what they were searching for, and when that was gone, they realized their marriage wasn't there anymore. And here's the, we could even think serving in ministry, we can get excited about our ministry position or whatever, and then realize all the while that wasn't really the purpose that we had, and end up exhausted because we thought that was our ministry part. I think this is that's why it's important for you to know why you're chasing what you're chasing. You got to know why you're chasing what you're chasing. But the good news today is that everybody in here has a unique and distinct purpose. He's designed you for a call that was specified for you. This is big. The Creator has called you to a purpose that only you can do. You are designed for a specific thing that God has assigned for you. And if you don't step into that, then you'll just have this empty space inside of you. And so I don't want you to miss your opportunity. I don't want you to miss your turn to reach the purpose that God has for you. I think that most people in the church and outside of the church don't really realize what their purpose is. I mean, a lot of us raise our hands for it. I could probably say maybe 80% of the church might not know their purpose. Because I believe if at least 50% of the church knew their purpose, this thing would be busting at the seams. I'm not just talking about this church. I'm talking about the big C church and all around the world. I believe when you find your purpose, you walk into the fullness of God for your life. And I don't know about you, but I want to step into everything, every promise, every goal, every treasure, everything that God has wired me to have. I want to step into it all. I want to know the fullness of thereof. I don't want to leave anything in the tank when I'm here. I want to empty the tank, and that way I have treasures in heaven. I want to be able to say, I want to be able to finish that race and for God to say, good well done, good and faithful servant. I want God to be able to say those things to me. I want God to be able to tell me those things. And here's the thing about purpose. Last time I preached, I talked about how we talked about the green light, and we talked about how when the light is green for God to allow you to take your next step, you don't need to miss that green light. And so but here's a couple of things I wish I would have said about that also. Number one, I wish I would have said that when the light is green, and if you delay when the light is green, you'll delay everybody behind you. You'll delay everybody that's following you. So your purpose is not just for you. Your purpose is always and will always be about people. That's everybody's mandate in this place. It's to love God and love people. Everybody in here is called to go and make disciples. Everybody in here is called to go and spread the word and to spread the gospel. Here's what the word says. But to each one of us, grace has been given as Christ has appointed us. and he talks about how he's given the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the pastors, the teachers. You guys all know this, to equip the people for the work of service, and it's so that the body of Christ may be built up until we all reach unity in the body of Christ, that we may be built up until in the faith and in the knowledge of the Son of God, to become mature and attain the whole measure of the fullness of Christ. So what is all that saying? We need each other to reach our purpose. We need each other to reach our purpose. And so today what I want to do, and I would take these last few minutes, I just want to talk to you about signs that lead to your purpose. Signs that lead to your purpose. I believe that this is just something that has been on my heart a lot, because as you guys have heard about Helena-West, it is a rough area. It's a dangerous place. It's in the poorest county in Arkansas. It has a very high crime rate. It's a very poverty stricken, depressed place. It's a place that I would need to know that was my purpose. I needed to make sure that this is what I was called to do. That I wasn't just taking my family somewhere just because I was wanting to puff myself up. But I really had to ask myself, why am I really chasing this rabbit that's in front of me? Why am I? The hood. Oh yeah. Oh, so yeah, there was we went there. Me and a couple of guys that are helping me, a couple of coaches. We went up there to go and just hang out with some people at the existing church that's there. And so we went to go eat. And as we're getting in the car, there's some people that are getting out of this truck that's next to us, and this guy runs up behind us with his backpack, and he's like trying to sell the people in the truck perfume and tasers. Perfume and tasers. I don't know how those two things go together, but they ended up, and so and the car is started, and so we're trying to back out, and then he's making this deal behind us, and so we rolled out and we were like, hey man, excuse me, can we get out? I know you're trying to make some money, but just to paint a picture of something that's there. I promise when I come back I'll have a lot of stories to tell you. I can just put that in the atmosphere. But along with that, I need to know the signs. I need to know the signs that led to my purpose. And so here's the first thing. Your story leads to your purpose. I'm going to talk a little bit about my story, but I'm also going to talk about King David a little bit today. And I think this is kind of cool because the first week I was here, my first official week, Pastor Travis preached about David. And my last week, I'm preaching about David. I think that's just cool. But here's the thing. Everything that God wants to do through you on this earth was already put inside of you. It was put around you on purpose. It was allowed to happen to you on purpose. And so don't waste what God is trying to put in your story, the signs that God is trying to put in your story. Your personality is a part of your story. Your personality will lead you to your purpose. You need to understand that. You need to understand that your pain will lead you to your purpose. And whatever you're passionate about will lead you to your purpose. All those things are accumulated in your story. And I love to look at David's story because when Samuel came to the house of Jesse, he was looking for a king. And in the people, he was looking for a king, and so so Jesse lined up all his sons, and he had all his best sons there. Some that were buff, strong, tall. All of them had the identity of a king. All of them had the identity of a king, but this is on the outward appearance. But this is what the Lord said to Samuel. He said, "Do not look on his appearance or his height or his stature, because I have rejected him. For I don't see the outward appearance, but I look at what's on the heart." Now here's where Jesse's sons get a bad rap. It's not like Jesse's sons didn't have a purpose in their life. Because I think sometimes we think about that, like my purpose is greater than your purpose because I'm up here with a microphone. That's not true. My purpose is not greater than your purpose because of what I'm doing. My purpose is greater than my old purpose because I'm in what God has called me to do. It's not greater. It's not a competition of purpose. It's what God has called us to do. And here's what's crazy about this is that although they all had the identity of a king, God was looking for the heart of a shepherd. So that's something that you guys gotta. I mean, there's a lot in that. God was looking. He wasn't looking for the identity of a king. He was looking for the heart of a shepherd to serve in the kingdom that he had. And so that was David's personality, was the heart of a shepherd. But it was also his pain. It was also his pain because here's the thing. Here's the next one. That after Samuel said to Jesse, he said, "Isn't this all?" He said, "Is this all you got? Is this all the sons you have? I mean, they all look great. They're all handsome guys, but I don't. The Lord hasn't called me to anoint any of these." And he said, "Well, there's the youngest. There's the youngest, but he's tending the sheep. He's tending the sheep." And here's what David might have felt. He might have felt unloved, unwanted. He might have felt like he had the lowest job. He might have felt overlooked. But it was in the pain it was in the situation that he was in that allowed him to be the qualified person to be anointed to be king. And so, what does that mean? What does that mean? Here's a good example, and I love just this whole story. Miss Verna, I think cancer messed up when it got on you. I'm just gonna be honest. I think that is my favorite ministry that is about to show up. Cause here's what happened. She took her pain and she turned it around and made it her purpose. And so now those who have cancer in this city, those who are hurting, those who are just lost of hope, they are now going to see the glory of God. They are going to see the identity of Christ in Verna, and that's just awesome to me. That is just awesome to me. I love that story. I love it. And you see, you gotta be able to pay attention to the story that God's writing in you. You know, any best-selling story always has pain in it. So if you want a significant life, you got to be able to embrace the pain and see the pain that comes through, but use it and turn it around to be a purpose. And so you've got to be able to see what's in your story. The next thing is this: your support system leads to your purpose. Your support system leads to your purpose. Isn't it kind of crazy that you might not notice this is like I noticed it, but in verse 12 it says, "Then the Lord said to Samuel, raise up and anoint him. This is the one." David didn't hear that from the Lord. Samuel did. You need people in your life that are going to be able to speak things that they see inside of you. You need people that are going to be able to speak the things that they see inside of you. Whenever we went there for the first time, whenever we went to Helena-West for the first time, we thought we were going to help. We didn't really know that like they wanted us to be the people. And I kind of knew a little bit, but I knew Michaela didn't know. And so just the way that our relationship works, I'm kind of the dreamer. Michaela is kind of like okay, we got to look at the facts type person, right? And so when we went up there, we saw the place. I mean, they told us all the stuff about how the guy who was mowing the lawn at the church got held up at gunpoint, and we went through the town and we saw the houses that were rough, and we heard all the stories, all the dangerous stuff, you know. And I'm just looking at Michaela, and I just know in my head, I said, when we get in this car, she is gonna tell me this is not us. This is not for us. I just knew it. And so we get in the car on the way home. We're driving. We're getting about 10 minutes down the road. I'm just waiting for it, you know. And she didn't say anything yet, you know. We're talking about other stuff, you know. And I said, so what do you think? You know, what do you think? And she just smiled, you know, with that beautiful smile. And she said, I kind of feel good about this. And I was like, what? It was good I wasn't driving, because I probably would have wrecked. I was like, wait a minute, what is going on? And she said, I feel good about this. And she's like, what about you? And I'm like, I don't, not me, I don't. And I remember as confident, she looked at me as confident as I've ever seen her look at me. And she said, I think you were made for a purpose like this. You were made for a purpose like this. And you need people that can look at you and see things in you that you can never see in yourself. And not only Michaela, but Pastor Travis also saw those things. I remember sitting in his office and he was just like, he was looking for a decision. He was like, man, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. And then he was like, all right, you got to make a decision right now. I think it took me about 10 minutes to answer him. I was just like sitting there quiet. I'm like, I don't know. You might just need to kick me out of the door to get me to go. I don't know. But here's what I want you to say, or want you to understand is that you need Samuels in your life, but you also need to be Samuels. You also need to be a Samuel. You also need to one of the things that I like to practice in my life is I never want to keep a compliment to myself. And so the 4 most attractive letters in the alphabet is this: I see in you. Tell people the gift that you see inside of them. Tell the gift that the gift, if you see something inside of somebody, tell them what you see, because maybe if Samuel would have kept his mouth shut, we don't know where David would be at that point in time. Now, I know God's going to make everything happen the way he wants it to happen, but Samuel got to play a part in the story because he was the one who said, I think you're the one. I think you're the one. You got to call out the gifts that you see inside of people. And you need somebody to call out that gift inside of you. And so here's the other thing. And I know I've talked about this, and I made it, I made this thing about person or purpose. I try not to over spiritualize purpose because it's not that complex. It's really not. Because I think this is the most important thing that you need to understand is that your serving will lead you to your purpose. Your serving will lead you to your purpose. Most of us, we talk about David and Goliath. That's what we know David the most for. And Mikey, I'm just going to tell you, man, if you ever just get up here and preach and you're just like, maybe they don't understand what I'm saying, just go straight to David and Goliath, man, because you can make a crowd shout from David and Goliath. I'm telling you, you can talk about David, about how the giant's going to fall in your life, and how David was a young man and how he was small, but his God was big, and you could just talk. I mean, you could just tell a story about Goliath and make people just amen, shout you down. I'm telling you, man, it's a preacher tip. I'm just gonna let you know that. But here's the thing. I heard someone preach about Goliath, and I thought it was an interesting take. They said most people don't even get to Goliath. Most people don't even get to Goliath because we like to make Goliath like down to our size. Like, David slayed Goliath and you can lose 60 pounds too. Like, that's not the same thing as the story of David and Goliath, It's not. Goliath was a nation terrorizing enemy. He was a big thing. And a lot of us want to see these big things, racial reconciliation. We want to see this nation turn back to God. We want to see revival in the land, but we're not willing to do the things that we're supposed to serve to do. Look at this. Now Jesse said to David, take some bread and some cheese, basically. I'm going to give you the QIV because I want to close. I want to give you some time to get there. She said, take some bread and some cheese to your brother. I want you to understand that this is after he was anointed to be king. A lot of, because here's the trend is a lot of people get this call in their life. I think you're called to be a prophet, brother. I think you're called to do this, brother. I think you're called to preach. And then we lose the aspect of serving because we believe that our identity is greater than what we're supposed to do in the moment. And here's what I want to say to you. If David would have never brought his brother some bread and some cheese, he would have never been in the position to slay Goliath. And so what does that mean to you? There's places in your life where you're called to just serve in the little things, and you don't know what that's going to bring. You don't know what that's going to bring. There's little babies in the nursery that could be the next Billy Graham. There's people in this youth group that I believe that could be the next president. I mean, they're all smarter than me, so I just think that they could be. And they all got A's and whatnot. You know, but most importantly, there's somebody that you might be greeting at the door that their lives can be 100% changed for the glory of God. And they were on their last leg and they were about to give up. But because you smiled and because you loved and because you showed the love of God to them, that they're now turned around for the glory of God. They're turned around for the glory of God. You were made to do great things. I want to tell you that. But you were made to serve in what your calling is. And so what's that for you? What's your story? What's the thing that you're supposed to do? You know, here's what I hope. Here's what I hope out of this whole thing is, well, I'll tell you this first. The biggest fear, obviously, I think, and anybody can agree. I don't know if I should be saying this or not, but the biggest fear for me is failure. You know, what if I get there and you know, I preach and I preach and you know, there just nobody comes. You know, I think that was always my fear on Wednesday nights too. Like I was like, man, ain't nobody showing up tonight. You know, but then everybody would show up and it'd be fine. But that, you know, one of my biggest fears is not having someone is failure. You know, is falling flat on my face. But then while I was at church plant training this week, this guy looked at me and he said, he's a pastor now. He's pastoring a very large church, and he talked about the church that he got saved in, and he said, you know, the church that I got saved in was a church plant. It was like a month old whenever my parents brought me there, and I got saved my first time I was there. And he said after 4 years that church closed down. And he said, you know, people will look at that like a failure. But if it wasn't for that church being there for those 4 years, then I would have never known Christ. He said, nothing that you do for God is a failure. Nothing that you do for God is a failure. So if you do it for God, you can't fail. If you do it for God, you can't lose. And so I want you to understand that. And I think a lot of times we think this. We think, well, what if I fail? What if I do this? What if it doesn't work out? Well, that'll be the thing that leads you to the next thing that God wants you to do in the first place. So here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to understand, that if you step into your purpose, you'll find fulfillment in your life.